That time of the month again for ASEAN Affairs. Of course, we like to keep you updated with what's happening with ASEAN and various impacts, of course, on the market here in this part of the world. To talk about ASEAN Affairs this time and to talk about tourism, because that's a big issue for all of us, not only in the region but around the world. Of course, I'm pleased to welcome back the Vice President of Global Marketing, Mr. Daniel Schwartz. Hi, Daniel. Busy time?
Oh yes, always busy here in Bangkok. Lots going on. Always a pleasure to be on the TV show.
Great to have you back again. And tourism is the subject.
Yes, this time we'll talk a little bit about tourism because, as you know, tourism for ASEAN represents 5 to 20% of the gross domestic product in many of the countries in Southeast Asia. And now with the global downturn and export-driven economies having reduced exports, tourism is playing an even larger role in generating funds for the countries.
What about as far as Thailand concerned? I mean, I guess we're talking about Malaysia, we're talking about Singapore, Indonesia, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos. But if we're talking about the key ones around us, I suppose that Thailand is probably, I would have thought, the hardest hit at this stage.
I'd say yes, because in Thailand, on top of the global economic downturn, and where most of the tourists, a lot of the tourists come from Europe and several, significant proportion from China as well. So you see with the downturn in the economy, less tourists, and then add on top of that in Thailand, as everybody's been aware and seen on TV, we've had some bit of political problems here, which further impacts travel to the region and especially to Bangkok.
And of course, I don't think anywhere in the world is going to be able to keep away from swine flu. So
yes,
it's another issue, I think, for the whole global world of tourism, but it's going to hit hard if it hits here.
Yes, and that, again, people are worried about traveling and bringing swine flu around. That's just a very recent new development, what started in Mexico, and it's in the U.S. and elsewhere. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that it doesn't greatly impact over here.
Yes, indeed. Now, what about the other countries in the region? If we look about Malaysia and we look at the Singapore and so on. I mean, Singapore has already said that their numbers are down dramatically.
Well, I think the region as a whole is down. Last year, it went down from 62 million to 58 million arrivals. This year is worse. I've talked to hoteliers in the region, and here, they lowered their forecasts in the first 3 months. Actually, for some of them, were pretty decent. There's been huge investments by the various governments, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, elsewhere, in promoting tourism, their tourism authorities, and working with the hotels and the airlines and the tourism operators to provide reduced prices and other incentives to try and keep tourism up.
So if we look at arrivals into each of the markets, who's hurting the most?
Probably Thailand. I'd have to take a look at the chart. Yeah, Thailand and Indonesia in 2009 are two that are both hurting a lot, and recently with, again, the political situation, that didn't help Bangkok too much. Some of the other areas in Thailand seem to be holding their own. And one of the luckier things, I think, for the region, at least if you can believe the news that you read on what's happening in America and in Europe and other places, they think they might be bottoming out in the recession and are forecasting and hopeful that we'll see some economic recovery, that on top of all the tourism promotions and support will enable tourism to start to come back into the region. I think reduced tourism, which means reduced demand for not only the tourism industries, but all of it kind of flows down, because the agricultural groups, they're providing the food that goes to feed the population plus all the tourists. If you're down millions of tourists, you're down millions of servings of food per day.
I just wonder what's going to inspire people to travel again. I mean, everyone's out there with their deals. Everybody's out there promoting their countries. I mean, we've got choices galore. Who's going to win? This is a big issue, isn't it?
That's a big issue. There's a lot of competition throughout the region. I think who's going to win? It's going to be the places that do an excellent job of promoting the value they provide, and they have to provide the service and the value for money. Because at the end of the day, people are going to travel on vacation. They love their vacation destinations as long as things stay reasonably stable from a political basis, depends on the country. People will come. They'll come back. They don't turn down their holidays as they might lower the class of where they stay, lower a little bit how much they'll spend. But in the end, you don't work just for the sake of working. You do want to take your holiday, and your well-deserved once a year, 2-week holiday or 3-week holiday.
Next cover?
Next cover, it's coming out, a new cover story on the Gras Canal.
Yes, indeed. Not going ahead, though.
We don't know. It's a 300-year-old project whose time might be here.
Well, don't forget to buy AseanAffairs, and of course the website is always available. We'll put the number on the screen, and of course that changes. The information going into that changes daily, so it's a great source to get information on AseanAffairs. Daniel, thanks for joining us again. Look forward to seeing you shortly.
My pleasure, as always.
Thank you so much.